What's up, everybody? I'm Will,
And I'm Andrew.
and this is the Party Up Paragon podcast.
Let's party!
First thing we need to talk about today is one of us was at Epic HQ.
Dude, that was you,
and it was not me. No, it looked like you on the dev stream.
Dude,
Was that you on the dev
It
stream?
might have been, dude. It was a man named Andimus. I don't know who that man is, but he kind of looks like me. So yeah, dude. Long story short, I got an email a few weeks back, and they were like, "Hey, we love what you do to the community, and they want to fly me out to be on the developer live stream for Zinyx." And I was really excited, dude. Like, I was pumped. I was ready to go. So
That's what's up. Did you get to play V42 at all?
a little bit. I don't know how much I could talk about, but everything was amazing. It was really cool. I played Zinyx early, played a little V42, saw just a lot of cool things, and met a lot of cool people like Cameron Winston and Nathan Moody, Kale Smith, all those guys. So like they were all like really cool, just down to earth people. So it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
What was their like actual HQ like? Did they have any cool things there?
Dude, they had a freaking slide, bro. They had a slide in their lobby.
Please tell me you went down the slide.
Of course I did, dude. Like, would you?
Of course.
Would you?
Yeah, of course I would go down the slide. I'm a child. Like, I'm just a child. Well, that's good, man. I'm glad. I'm glad that was.
Yeah,
that was a good time.
I was pumped, man. So the first thing we want to talk about in this podcast right now, of course, is V41.3, the newest hero, Zinyx. Well, how do you like her?
I will say she is aesthetically pleasing. Like, she looks really good. It is like a different character, but it is a little annoying that they keep doing like your classic like humanoid, like 2 arms, 2 legs.
Yeah.
Like I do want to see something crazy. Like it all seems like super similar. Like I want to see something crazy. Like I want to see an octopus riding a motorcycle,
Dude.
like slinging fire.
Maybe.
Like I don't know.
Maybe, dude.
But she seems like she's got an interesting kit. She seems a little difficult to play, just to be like, oh, I'm gonna play Zinyx. I'm just gonna jump in here and play Zinyx. I think you really need to understand her kit and how to build her to be effective. I don't think she's a great, like, oh, I'm first pick, let me pick Zinyx.
So yeah. For me personally, like, she's not hard to play, but you just have to be at the right, in the right spot at the right time. Her E ability, her stun is a skill shot. I thought it was like a lock-on ability, or it just kind of goes to the nearest person, but it is a pretty hard skill shot to hit. It almost feels like Gideon's tether. His burden,
yeah.
It feels like that. Like if you don't like lead your target enough, like it just won't hit. Her right mouse button, her actual wave clear, it's not like it's not as good as you would think. It doesn't do as much damage as you would think. It is good late game, but early game it does like 8 damage a tick for 5 seconds.
I do think that they could up the initial damage of right when it hits and still increase the damage over time, because you got to be a real dingleberry as an enemy player just to stand in that, right? So like I feel like you can up the damage to help her wave clear, but also it won't be too overpowered, because like as an enemy hero you're not just going to be standing in it. It's not that big of a space.
Well, either that or keep it along the same line as almost any other damage over time effect that heroes have, like phase damage over time. It does 50% of the damage at the very end of it. They could have done something like that.
Right.
So like you throw it out, use your stun to lock someone in it, and then they get that full damage. But I mean, overall her kit's not bad. It is unique. There's not too much that she has that anybody else has. As far as like how well she is, I was very underwhelmed, let's just say that, with her kit. But like I did play around with a couple builds and things like that, and there's a couple cards right now at least that benefit from her a lot, actually.
Yeah, I think that they really did design her with V42 in mind. It sounds like she's kind of gonna flourish a little bit more when we get into the new card system, because she feels a little out of place. And I feel like all the heroes coming up to this, you've got draft dodging and people being salty that they can't play this hero coming out, and then we got to Zinyx, and I feel like it's not like that. People aren't as excited to play her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of her kit I don't know why, but she definitely seems like she's not as sought after as, Wraith or Phase or Revenant, any of those
Well, I
characters that
mean,
came out
me
recently.
personally too, I think Ray doesn't truly fit in this build as well. Like he works really well, but I think he can outshine a lot of different people in V42 in my personal
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, especially with the new ward system they're going to do, him being able to basically have his own ward, I think is incredibly useful. So
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
think that they built that knowing like, hey, wards aren't going to be that big of a, or not as big of a deal, but they're not going to be as prevalent. Like
Mhm.
him having his own is truly a weapon in itself, just
Mhm.
that vision.
Yes, yes, very much so.
So as we do with pretty much any new hero, people want to know what kind of card should I put on her. Now, the card system will be irrelevant here soon, but we all know we're going to play in between then. So, do you have any suggestions on what cards people should be using on Zinx?
Yeah, so the first right off the bat, right when I saw her kit, I was like, man, Tainted Magic is going to be clutch on her. You know,
Yeah,
her Q ability toggles her autos and does dot damage already. But the thing about that, what I just said, is it toggles her autos, her basic attacks. So actually, Tainted Magic doesn't
right.
work with her Q. Her pretty much only decent burst ability. So I mean, you can run Tainted on her. Tainted does work okay. But for a 7 point investment where you can't really get as much use out of it as other casters, I don't recommend Tainted. A couple different cards like Infinity Stream is really good on her because it pretty much doubles up the effect of her ultimate. So you get like 30, I think, when you're pretty low on mana late game. Plus you add another, 2.4 or another, actually it's what, like 1 point for every mana that you're missing. So you get like 50 mana
Right.
regen late game, or 60, which is really good on her. I think Infinity Stream is good on her. I built a more damage heavy build with her, and it actually, I was pretty tanky to begin with. So I think building her a little tanky, just a couple points into armor, maybe some health, and then damage, I think works pretty well. So, um,
Well, you're a carry at heart. You main carries. Of course, you're gonna figure out a way to put damage on a
come on,
character.
man.
Like, I've literally have played games with you with running damage Muriel builds. Like,
Dude, offlane
you're gonna
Decker,
put
bro.
damage on a character.
Whirling wands and silver spears on Decker is clutch. All right, let me just say that.
You're the you're the only one. Not really. I saw a couple. But
So I've seen a couple things like, you build more mana so she can get more mana later on is also a decent idea. But for me, I think
right.
utility like Teleblink and Infinity Stream, a little bit of armor if you would like, and then damage. That's my recommendations there. So.
Many people, when the new hero comes out, they want to know how to play the character, how they should build them. Me personally, I usually sit back and let other people play the character. But one thing I always do find myself doing early when the characters come out is I think, how can I counter this character?
Oof.
So let's give some thoughts on how can we counter Zinx? Like, what are some good ways to get her off her spot?
Well, the one main thing you can think of is she's so reliant on her mana. So using characters like Bellica is going to be a great idea for her. A great counter. People that can endure past her dot damage, her Q ability, like people like Fang. Maybe even Steel with his ability armor.
Right.
Is also good, and a Muriel as well too. And you have to think that she doesn't have a true escape. She has a stun, but depending on how many minions or people around her, that stun can be what, a half a second. So people that can initially grab her and then chase her down, like people like Grux that has his smash and grab and then his charge. People like that, or Sevrog with his subjugate, I think are really good counters to her.
Yeah, I think another one that we didn't mention was Crunch. Like,
Ooh, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I always try to get Crunch in the game. I feel like he's one of those characters that has such a high skill cap. You have to string
Yes.
together his moves. You have to use the animation cancel. Like, it's helpful for other characters, but it is necessary for him. So you need to figure out for Crunch how to do that. But I think he's really good because he can get in her face. He can stun her. He can be doing damage. And he has kind of a chase if you use his right mouse button correctly.
Yes. So yeah, I completely agree with you.
He's really good. Another thing is she doesn't have that wave clear like we talked about. Her
Mm-hmm.
wave clear does a little bit of that dot damage. It's decent,
Yes.
but if you can
Yes.
stack in her lane and put pressure on her, like 1v1 plus minions, she's not going to be able to defend a tower very well.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to need help. So if you're playing her in off lane, that duo on their safe lane is probably going to eat her up if your team doesn't rotate.
Yeah, that's why I have seen like mad spores on her to get a little bit more wave clear. I don't think that's a good idea because she's a ranged hero. But
Right.
I mean, I have seen people put mad spore on her just to get a little bit more wave clear, so she doesn't have to do that as much. So
Yeah, I understand why people have been doing that, but I tend to shy away from using cards like for one specific purpose if it doesn't help in any other aspect.
yeah, I mean,
Like you said, she's ranged,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
having Mad Spore on in a team fight is irrelevant.
yeah,
Like you get a little bit of that boost of armor, but like you're probably not gonna build too much into that.
Mhm.
Like, you want to use that for actual utility cards.
yes, yeah, definitely,
Personally.
definitely. I mean, that's just me. I mean, you put mad spore on Sev or Radiant Mantle on Crunch, and now we're talking, but
Yeah,
not her.
it's just
not her.
extra damage. It's free damage. At
It
that
is,
point.
it
You're
is,
gonna
yeah.
get. You're in there close, either tanking damage or stunning. You might as well get in there and just be doing that little bit of extra
Yeah,
damage.
definitely. The next thing we wanted to talk about is really what's to come in the future of Paragon for V42 and beyond. So if you didn't realize, the Epic actually posted like a little forum or blog of what's to come, the mid-year update per se. And Will, did you read it? And if you did, what are the great things that are coming soon?
I did read a little bit into it, and the thing I've really been looking forward to the most is a different game mode.
Ooh, yes.
I like the game mode. Like we've both talked about, this is our first MOBA. This is not old for me. Like I've only been playing a little over a year. MOBAs in their lanes with the maps is not old to me. But the thought of being able to play in like a smaller map with one lane and
Yeah.
maybe like three on three,
Ooh.
I just think it's much easier to get a 3 stack than a 5 stack.
Yeah,
If I can play 3-on-3 and trust my teammates, like, hey, I'm gonna ult now and I'm gonna go in. Do you have my back? I know for a fact that Andrew has my back every time.
It's going to
So
be
like,
more,
I like that.
it's going to be more focused on like hero to hero combat instead of last hitting and getting farm.
Yeah.
Things like that. They're saying it's going to be like 10 to 15 minute clash of mayhem, which that sounds really fun because like it's a lot of time to invest in a game of Paragon. 30 plus minutes right now.
I think it will appeal to a broader demographic
Yes.
of people who are like, hey, what are these heroes? Oh, this guy looks cool. He's got a gun or he's got a spear and a pipe. Like they want to go in and they want to use the heroes. They don't want to have to farm. They don't want to have to get buffs. They don't want to have to worry about rotating to rafters. They just want to play team deathmatch. And I think if you make a game, like you need to have a little bit of that in mind. Like, no, they're not your core people. They're not your MOBA guys. But if you're going to make a game free to play, especially if you're going to add it onto the PlayStation Store, where so many more people can see it other than PC players, like I feel like you need to have a little bit of a mode that gives them like, hey, I just want to run around and ult everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I just want to pop Gideon's ult and have fun, which like I'm okay with that. Like you said, 30 plus minutes of games is a lot. Like I'm okay with playing a quick 15-minute game, and that's that. Now, the one thing that I do wonder is segueing into the next thing to come is the competitive play. Will that be considered competitive play? Like, are they going to add those into the ranking system, or will it just be your classic MOBA?
That is true, yeah. I mean, they are saying they're committed to growing the competitive play, formed a ranked version of the game, broadcast esports and all that jazz. But that's a good question.
Right.
I actually did not think about that. I mean, they are thinking about doing it. I can't wait for ranked, by the way, too. But the thing I'm most excited about is they're actually... For me, it's the complete overhaul of the card system. And they talked about it a little bit in a previous one. But, like, overall, the cards look amazing. And they're redoing everything about it. It's crazy.
In their last forum post, they talked about the new cards and they showed some of the artwork. I think it was like 5 cards. And just the artwork on the cards was incredible.
I know.
Like, it's so much more detailed. It has, like, it even looks like mini heroes in there. These are, like, fully drawn artworked characters.
I
And
know.
they just look amazing, which makes me think that if they're going to put that much time into what the cards look like, when they finally do the update for the visuals, whenever that is, I'm going to be blown away.
I know.
Like,
I
because they
can't wait.
already look great. I just can't wait to see how good it's actually going to look when they think, or when they say, like, hey, this is our actual finished product. Like, it's going to blow my mind.
So, I mean, like, with that being said, they were thinking about releasing the game, like, what, sometime next year, I think they said? Like,
Early 2018
Can-
was what they said on the dev stream.
can you imagine that? Like, what the game is going to improve from now, 41.3 to whatever 50 or 60 or whatever it's going to be.
Right.
Like,
Oh my gosh. Just the thought of just skins, items, cards, looks, towers, just rebalancing the meta. Who knows what we're going to be playing like? We might be back to straight tanks. We might be back to like pure movement speed. Who knows? This might be like, hey, every card you put on should add movement speed. We might be running around with a constant blue buff. I don't know. We have a long time until 2018, but like, we're going to keep playing it and we're going to keep loving it.
yeah, the one thing that's said in the post is, you know, the whole game balance, attack speed, in-game economy, everything. Like, everything you know about the game now is changing.
And I'm okay with that. Like, my first thought back in Legacy, when they're like, hey, we're going to start changing stuff, it hurt a little bit because it was my first MOBA. I felt invested to the characters and the map, you know, just the way Orb Prime was, the Raptors being black buff, just the layout, and to feel like they were going to change that on me felt like they were taking the game away. But as we've been playing Monolith, you know, basically since early December, January, like, it feels like home now. Monolith feels like the right map. So I think it's all hindsight when you look back and you go like, I was upset, but kind of a different mindset now.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
is I trust Epic. Like they've delivered on everything so far. Like, yes, they have to rebalance heroes every once in a while, but like, you can't get it perfect. So I trust them in every decision they're making forward, and I know it's going to be a great game. Like, unless they take my man Murdoch out the game, like, I'm going to keep playing.
So the one thing I'm excited about, though, is actually not only, like, you know, forget about this whole card rework and all that jazz. What I'm really excited to see is their hero reworks and rebalancing. It's like, how are they going to change the older heroes in the first, 13 to actually change in this new environment that they're making? That's what I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, I definitely think that they're going to do some big changes to Rampage. Now, that's not that they've said anything, but I just feel that. Like, I feel like he's being left behind as a jungler, and him being one of the originals, I feel like they're going to revamp him here, you know, in the next couple months. They've already done Twin Blast and Murdoch, so I think if a carry's going to get touched, it's probably going to be Grim.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
He needs to be somehow fixed. I don't know what it is, because I still like his kit. He has a slow.
Yes.
He's got a lock on all. He can block an ability. He's got a good kit. My man's just huge. His hitbox is enormous. Like, you can blindly aim with him. And as long as you're just like even remotely close, like, you're gonna clip Grim.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the bad part about playing Grim. But his kit is good. So I don't know what they have to do to like help him, but I do think that he's gonna get reworked.
You know what you should do? Just play support Grim.
It's been done and it's been effective.
It's been effective. So, Will, the main thing that we have to take away from this is that ranked is coming to this game. So,
Finally,
thank God. So, I have a tip for newer players or players that are trying to get, you know, better at the game. Do you have anything too, by the way, in that sort of matter?
You know, I've said this a bunch of times on different streams and just like in different videos and stuff, but like, the main thing I can say is if you're trying to climb an elo, if you're one of those people that looks at your elo a lot, like, just play impactful roles. Be a carry, be a jungler, be somebody that can actually affect the game, even if your team is not necessarily doing what you want them to do. Be somebody that can control the game. Don't play support. Don't play like a mid lane caster. Be somebody who can be effective. I think just that, for me, like, that's what helped me, was just playing impactful roles.
So my tip for newer or
Right.
you know, even experienced players that want to get more into the competitive field is use this time in open beta in a still developed game with no ranked, to really find what you're good at and what your like calling is. So I mean, mine's a little different from yours, but like if you're good at just like keeping people away from other people and like doing a little bit of damage here, like play a support or play a mid laner. But if you just want to just run and gun, play a carry. And for me, it's just like, you know, you have to find what you're good at. You never know what you're going to be good at unless you try everything. And if you think you main carries, then play an offlaner to see what an actual other carry plays like, so you know what you're looking for. Things like that. And to really take away from it, don't worry about your elo right now until rank comes out, until you actually get into the competitive scene. So that's my biggest thing.
I definitely tried to concentrate on one hero. I played a lot of Rampage to begin because he was really easy to play. You get your health back. It was like a nice safety net. So I played a lot of him. And then when I got familiar with how to kind of range heroes when you're in an attack space, when you're safe, stuff like that, then I started to jump into other roles. And I do like to pride myself on being able to play any character in any role, and I feel comfortable. But after doing all that, I like you said, like I found out what I like. I like to be a bruiser tank. I like to play Greystone, and I just like to jump in the middle, and I just like to cause havoc. I like to just be in the way, and I like to where people have to focus you, and you being the carry, since we play a lot together, you being able to just take down people while I'm just taking damage. And
peeling
you know
for me,
I'm not, you know me, I'm not a stats guy. I'm about wins. So like if I die in the process and don't get a kill or even an assist, but you come out with kills and we get a tower and inhib, that's good for me. Like, I don't know, like I'm not a stats guy. I just like to win. So I think that helps me pick the players. Like I like playing Rampage. I like playing Steel. I like playing Greystone. I just like to be in the mix. That's just how I play. I can't help it. I don't like my favorite character is Murdoch because he's a master of mine. I've played him the longest, but I do find myself, even in the carry role, getting way too close to the action, getting too close in there because that's my personality, just to dive into the fight. Like, it's just how I am. I can't help it. So, like you said, now's the time to experiment. Figure out what you like. Do you like to hang back? Do you like to be in the middle? Do you just like to AFK farm? Just be Wukong. Like, just do whatever you want. So, great advice.
For me, like, I started out playing Gideon, then I went to Fang, and then I started playing Twin Blast, and I was like, man, this guy's dope. I love Twin Blast. I fell in love with him. And then from there, like, I finally realized, like, I like to be able to dish out damage while trying to outmaneuver their tanks and their front line, to be able to dish out as much damage as I can. I like it. Sometimes I see myself, overcommitting and dying, but, like, as long as I am able to recognize my own mistakes and be able to say, like, next time I have to stay in the back line just a little bit more than I should. You know what I'm saying? You just have to realize your mistakes in games and be able to fix them.
Yeah, I definitely think like we talked about a minute ago, like what are some advice to like kind of help you out when you're learning to play? Probably the best thing you can tell people is just learn positioning.
Yes.
Like where should you be? Where does your character belong? In the front, kind of in the middle as a support, or in the back as a damage dealer? Like you figure that out, and then you kind of just like learn where to be in a game. And then when you're in range of somebody, if the other team has a Morigesh or if the other team has a Crunch, the ranges they definitely have to be close to you.
You know what, Will? What I just thought? Maybe next week we can talk about key positionings for different roles. How about that? Teaser for next week. From myself and Will, thank you again for watching the Party Up Paragon podcast, and as always,
always party up.